Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is week 10 in the NFL, so we're back with my weekly NFL predictions. If you enjoy the content, make sure you do like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. And with that being said, let's get to my week 10 NFL predictions. So, not a bad week for us. So we'll just start from the top. So the Steelers beat the Titans, Chiefs beat the Dolphins. It was not as exciting as I thought that game was going to be. Vikings beat the Falcons, and everybody's rooting for Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs now, so good for him. Browns beat the Cardinals, just shut them out. Packers beat the Rams. So I just want to point this out, and it's such an annoying stat because I'm a Seahawks fan. So the NFC West this past week had a combined 6 points. That's insane. Anyway, so yeah, Packers beat the Rams, Commanders beat the Patriots, Saints beat the Bears, Ravens smacked the shit out of my Seahawks, Texans beat the Buccaneers, that was an insanely good game. I love watching that game. Colts beat the Panthers, Raiders beat the Giants, Eagles beat the Cowboys. That was a very good game as well. Bengals beat the Bills. Don't let that score fool you. It honestly wasn't as close as the score says it is. And the Chargers beat the Jets. So 9-5 on the week, not too bad. And after week 9, 81-54. So super net positive on the year, almost plus 30 on the year. So pretty good for us. Alrighty, now let's move over to my weekly top 5 NFL rankings. So coming in at number 5, I did move the Jaguars down just a little bit because I just think more teams impressed me this week. So I just had to move them down because the other teams were more impressive. But I still think this team is very good. I think their defense is playing super hungry, and I really like watching this team. But yeah, I just have the other 4 teams on the list are just better in my eyes. Number 4, Bengals. I think Bengals are just one of the best teams right now. They are putting it together offensively, defensively. Joe Burrow looks so comfortable in the pocket. I'm just super impressed with this team, and they look very scary. Coming in number 3, I do have the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are still as good as ever, but I'm just waiting for them to put it together offensively before I can actually say this team is a contender, which we all know they're contenders, but I need to see more from them offensively. Coming in number 2, slipping down is the Eagles. And the only reason I have them slipping down is because their defense, if they don't get to the quarterback, they don't stop anybody. And it's very apparent. So they need to figure out what's going on in their secondary, and that's the only reason I moved them down. I think their defense just scares me a little bit, but another team whose defense scares me a lot is Baltimore. Baltimore is hands down the best team currently. Offensively, defensively, they know what they're doing. They have a game plan, and they are just daring people to stop them. And yeah, my Seahawks could do that this week. So yeah, I do have the Ravens at number 1. And over to the teams that are on buys this week. So the Chiefs, Dolphins, Rams, and Eagles all on buys. So 2 of my top 5 teams will not be playing this week. And these are the games that we will not be discussing this week. So quite a few games this week. Just games that teams with losing records, and just games that I think have a clear winner are the games that we are not discussing. So for Thursday Night Football, it is the Panthers at the Bears. I have the Bears winning 30-27. I just think the Bears will find a way, especially because I just don't trust the Panthers at all. And over to the early window Sunday games, it is the Colts at the Patriots. I got the Colts winning. I just think Gardner Minshew is going to be able to game manage well enough to squeak out a win in New England. Our next game is the Packers at the Steelers. I do have the Steelers winning that game. I just think the Steelers defense is better than the Packers offense. Plain and simple. And our next game is the Titans at the Buccaneers. So I think the Buccaneers will win this game just because I think they're going to get back on track. I think their defense isn't as bad as we've seen in the past couple of weeks, and I think their offense gets back on track. But I still think Will Levis will have a decent game, so this game could go either way, in my opinion. Our next games are the late window games, and I have the Falcons at the Cardinals. I got the Falcons winning that one. I don't expect it to be very close. I just don't think the Cardinals have anything, and especially without Josh Dobbs now, I just don't have anything. This team just doesn't have anything, in my opinion. Our next game is the Giants at the Cowboys, and I don't expect the Giants to score very many points because Daniel Jones, I think he's out for the year. So, yeah, unfortunately, I got the Cowboys 40, Giants 10. I don't expect the Giants to score very many points in this game. Our Sunday night game is the Jets at the Raiders. I do have the Raiders winning that game. I just think they have a renewed energy to play for this new head coach that they have. So, I just think the Raiders are hotter than the game of last week. So yeah, I think the Raiders are going to beat the Jets. And for Monday Night Football, the Broncos at the Bills. I got the Bills winning. I think the Broncos come back down to earth after beating the Chiefs before their bye week. And yeah, I think the Bills get back on track, but that's a trap game for sure. That is for sure a trap game. So be careful, Buffalo. And over to the games that we are discussing. Our first game is the early window. Our first game in the early window is the Houston Texans at the Cincinnati Bengals. So for the Texans, they got to find a run game. I am not seeing anything from the run game except for CJ Stroud, apparently, because he rushed for, I think, like 60 yards last week. So that's good, I guess. Incorporate him into the run game. Get the run game going. It'll help your rookie quarterback tremendously, I promise. CJ Stroud just needs to continue to play like the rookie of the year. He is, by every definition, the rookie of the year right now. So he just needs to continue this, and I think he will continue to do so. And if this offensive line can just take care of CJ Stroud, this team will be very feisty, we'll say. As for the Bengals, they got to pressure Stroud early and often. Get him out of rhythm and get him out of his comfort zone, because he's so comfortable. He threw for 470 yards last week. Like, how is he throwing for that many yards so comfortably? So get pressure and get to him often. Next, they need to continue to follow the game plan offensively. I think their offense is just, they know what they're doing. They come out and they will just push you around and they'll get everything they want to get. So the only thing that can stop this team offensively is injuries. So I know a couple of their wide receivers are questionable for this week, so we will see about that. And Joe Burrow, I think he is getting back into the MVP conversation. I know he had a rough first 4 weeks of the season. So yeah, that was tough, but I think he's back on track, and I think the Bengals do win this game. I think I got the Bengals 28, Texans 20. I do expect the Texans to score some points, but definitely got the Bengals winning this one. Our next game is the New Orleans Saints at the Minnesota Vikings. So for the Saints, continue the dual threat of Carr and Hill. Hill helps this offense so much. They need to continue to incorporate him as much as they can, because it's amazing when Hill is on the field, because the opposing defense just doesn't know what to do. And they need to continue to feed Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara needs the ball way more than he got last week. And I know they still won last week, but recipe for success is get Alvin Kamara the ball, as well as Chris Olave. I think they're tremendous playmakers, so feed those guys. As for the Vikings, I think Josh Dobbs will come back down to earth. I know that was a tremendous win for him last week, and I'm super happy for the Vikings team after Kirk Cousins goes down and Josh Dobbs steps in and gets them that dub, but I think he does come back down to earth. I think this team fumbles the ball way too much, and I think that will rear its ugly head against better teams. And I think they just need to protect Josh Dobbs, and I think he will continue to get better with this offense, and we'll see. I do have the Saints winning this one. I think it will be a close game. I got the Saints 30, Vikings 24. This game could go either way, so we'll see. And our next game is the San Francisco 49ers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So for the 49ers, they're fresh off their bye week. They're rejuvenated. I'm pretty sure Brock Purdy's concussion should be gone at this point, so we'll see. From what I saw in the injury report, Debo is likely back this week. He was seen at practicing, so that is good for him. Hopefully they can get him back this week. And Purdy, I think he just needs to take care of the football more. And I know they said he was concussed, so maybe that was a big factor in why he was turning the ball over a lot, but he just needs to take care of the football more, and I think this team will be just fine. As for the Jaguars, I think they just need to continue the RPO. Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence together are just so good, and if they continue to just spread the ball out, I think this team will continue its success. I think like I said earlier, I think their defense plays super hungry, and I am super impressed with their defense. They just need to continue exactly what they're doing. And I think Trevor, just take care of the football, man. That's all you got to do. And I think this team can be super competitive. I think the Niners get back to their winning ways, though. I got the Niners 27, Jaguars 23. Like I said, I think the Niners get back to their winning ways, and I expect them to win this game. Our next game is the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. So this is going to be a very good game in my opinion. So the Browns, I think their defense ate against a backup quarterback last week. So say whatever you want about the Cardinals and getting that win. Good for the Browns. Getting a shutout is not easy in the NFL. So congratulations, but it was against a backup quarterback. So just keep that in mind. You will not do that every single week. Next, don't forget about the run game. They have running backs. They have Kareem Hunt. I know they don't have Nick Chubb anymore, but I think they need to continue to lean on their run game quite heavily, especially because I'm just not sure what Deshaun Watson is currently. So, and I think their defensive line needs to get to Lamar this week. That is the biggest goal, and I know it's so much easier said than done, but Myles Garrett, get to Lamar, get to him early and often. As for the Ravens, I think their defense is top 3 in the league. They manhandled us last week. It was not pretty. It was terrible. I hated watching the game, and it was just very, very sad day for Rogine. Next, continue the RPO. Just like I said, I think even with J.K. Dobbins going out for the year, I still think this team's running attack is still pretty good. So continue the run pass option and just continue what you're doing, Ravens. You guys are freaking good, man. And don't get overconfident after last week's win. Yeah, and I don't mean this in a cocky way or a resentful way at all. It's just not who I am, not my intention. I mean it as in, don't get over cocky. Do not underestimate teams. Do not underestimate the Browns. The Browns will beat you if you make mistakes. So, Ravens, just play like you did last week for the rest of the year, and you guys will probably get a Super Bowl. I do have the Ravens winning this one. I got the Ravens 20, Browns 17. I just think the Ravens offense is better than the Browns offense, in my opinion. So I do have the Ravens winning this one. Our next game is the Detroit Lions at the LA Chargers. So for the Lions, they are fresh off their bye week. So should be fresh, rejuvenated, and have a healthy game plan for going against the Chargers this week. And if they continue to feed Jahmyr Gibbs like they did last week, they will be just fine. That was exactly why they drafted him. So continue to do that, Jahmyr, and you will have a career for a few years, because we know running backs don't get paid. Anyway, defense needs to continue its great play. I'm super impressed with this defensive line, especially. I think if they continue to just pressure people, I think this team can be very feisty for sure. As for the Chargers, they won despite Herbert not even playing that great. So I think that's not necessarily a recipe for success. You want Herbert to play well as the rest of the team, especially your defense. So I think if their defensive line continues to feast like they did last week, I think this team will be very, very much better than what they were in the first 9 weeks of the season. And they need to continue to get Austin Eckler the ball. Austin Eckler is one of your best players. I don't understand why you're not feeding him, and I get it. When a certain play doesn't work, you don't just abandon the run game, though. So feed him, get him the ball. I do have the Lions winning this one, though. Unfortunately, I want to root for the Chargers, but I think the Lions are a better team. So I do have the Lions 31, Chargers 24. I wouldn't be surprised if this game wasn't even that close. So we'll see. And the final game we're talking about is the Washington Commanders at my Seattle Seahawks. So as for the Commanders, I think they're too reliant on Sam Howell. If Sam Howell doesn't have a good game, this team is so ass. It is so bad. So, and I'm not sure if Sam Howell can get you over the hump on every single team. And that's been obvious throughout this season, in my opinion. And I don't know who they are defensively. You gave up 2 of your perennial defensive players that were on your roster, and I just don't know what you are defensively at the moment. So I think last week was them readjusting and people not knowing what the game plan was to go against their defense. So I expect the Seahawks to hopefully figure something out. I think they need to continue to run the ball more. They have decent running backs. You have 3 decent running backs on this roster. Run the ball. I don't understand why you're putting so much on Sam Howell. So run the ball a little bit. As for the Seahawks, that was the worst game of the year for any team at all. Oh, I forgot the Broncos got 70 scored on them. Anyway, yeah, that was an absolutely dog shit game last week. That was so bad. I hated watching that. That was so just bad. They need to just never do any of what they did last week ever again. They need to stop giving up on the run game. Run the ball. Run the ball so much. Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, jet sweeps with Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jake Bobo, DK, anything. Run the ball. We are so good at running the ball. We need to run the ball more. Please, Seattle, run the ball more. And stop shooting yourselves in the foot. Stop turning the ball over. Stop throwing the ball to the worst people. Stop not blocking for Geno. stop getting every single penalty under the sun. It's so annoying watching my team sometimes. It makes my hair want to just get ripped out of my skull. God, it's so annoying because we have so much potential. We have so much potential, and we never. Every time I get high on my team, they just shit in my fucking lap. So I do have the Seahawks winning this one. I think the Seahawks get back into the win column. Seahawks 27, Commanders 20. We'll see. I'm not super optimistic on that one, but that will conclude my Week 10 NFL predictions. What did you think? Was there any picks you agreed with, disagreed with? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next Thursday with my Week 11 picks.